evening, everyone. Happy quarantine. Welcome to this episode of Get the Fork Out. This week we have the famous Micail Swindells. Like, he is one of the G's in the industry for sure. I've been admiring his stuff online. Finally got to meet him in person. Super cool dude. Welcome to Get the Fork Out, Micail.
Hey, thanks very much, man. Really cool to be here. I've been watching your videos and yeah, I really think it's cool what you're doing for the industry. A nice intro as well. I don't know if it's all true, but
no, man, it's definitely true. I think I remember I was like a couple years ago, maybe even a while ago, I was like with my friend Hannah, and we were like looking at your photos, and I think it was back on Facebook too. Like, it was before the gram was even what it was, and we were like, this is bullshit. No way this guy's a yacht chef. You know, this is how are you gonna do this for like 7 people vegan, 2 people normal, 3 kids? And but no, I mean, you're it, man. You've been doing it, you've been grinding, and it's really cool that you share your stuff online. So I don't know, where did it all start, man? What's your story?
God, back to that. That was probably back in the Soul Chef days. But I'll get to that a little bit later. So where did I start? Well, grew up sort of in a sort of artistic sort of hippie background, I guess. My mother is an artist. She lives in Jamaica now, and my dad's sort of gardener / musician. I'm on an organic farm now at the moment. That is where he lives in the UK. We grew up and, you know, traveled around in a bus for a while, and then sailed up the Caribbean on a boat, settled in Jamaica for a bit. He sort of grew up all over the world and not really into school, or very good at school, or very good at anything, to be honest with you, apart from fucking around. So then we sort of moved back to the UK. I went to school for a bit when I was around 10 till 13, and my dad's quite a liberal. They're quite, you know, hippie type people, and I didn't really get on with school or anything there. And we were sort of going out and going to free parties at the time, which are, you know, like illegal raves in the middle of fields, listening to techno when I was about 13.
Awesome.
Which was pretty fun, and sort of took away from the, you know, that went away from that educational route. So I told my father, I said, I don't really want to do this. At that time in the UK, you could legally leave. Now you can't. Obviously, the rules. I'm 34. I know the rules have changed over time, where, you know, parents can't just take their kids out of school. So my dad said, you can go. What do you want to do? I said, I don't know. I just want to go out and party. So he said, you got to do something. So all my friends were in year 11, which was, they were all 16 and they just left school. And one was in the catering college in the UK in Bath. And I said, well, I'll go there because, you know, I could just fuck around with him. Sounds like a right thing to do. So I went, and then had a couple of amazing tutors, Mrs. Simpson and Mr. Maz. I'll get onto one of them later. We did sort of a reunion, not a reunion, sort of say goodbye to him after 20 years in the college with a couple of Michelin-star chefs about 4 years ago, which was really, really special for me. So I started there, and yeah, sort of found out, hey, actually, to get sort of rewarded for doing something right, it's quite nice. You know, you get into it and you realize, actually, I quite enjoy this. So I thought, well, let's give it a crack. So I got a job straight away at 15 whilst doing college, and went to work in a little 2 rosette bistro in Bath called Tilly's. I did a few years there, which was interesting. It's my first real job. You know, whilst trying to complete my my catering degree, and started there and thought, wow, this is amazing. I was DJing at the time as well, so I didn't really know what I wanted to do in life. It was either I wanted to, you know, play records and in front of crowds and do that type of thing, and I also wanted to cook. So I did a few years, completed my courses. I was 17 at the time, did a year full time at Tilly's, and then over that year sort of reevaluated where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do, and decided my parents lived on a horrible, well, my mother, not my father, lived on a lovely council estate in Brixton, well, you know, free rent. So I thought I'll go up there, because obviously London is a hub for drum and bass, and also for restaurants is the place to be if you're in the UK.
Let me interrupt you for a second right there. Like, why don't you explain the town Bath? Because I've never been there, but I know it's famous. I mean, it's chock full of Michelin-star restaurants.
It's got a couple. You've got the Priory, the Olive Tree, I believe now at the moment. It's an old Roman town, dating back to 2000 BC. So you got the Roman baths here. It's like a spa. There's an old school one from thousands of years ago. It's a real nice place. A bit of a place where there's like loads of posh people and a load of reprobates. Well, we were the reprobates. But it's a real nice place. I've got my apartment here, and I always come back and got family around here. It's lovely. The restaurant scene's okay, but depends what level you're looking at. You know, London's obviously the place to be, and there's a few places around England which are really good. It depends where you set your levels. You know, at the time, back when I moved to London, a guy called Andre Garrett, who used to be at Bath College about 20 years before me, and he just won the Roux Scholarship, and he was the head chef at a restaurant called Orrery, which had a 1 star. So Mr. Maslin, this college tutor, hooked me up basically. He said, I can get you a job up there. So I told him I'm thinking of going after Tilly's. So I went up for a stage, absolutely shat myself, you know, coming from a small place as 18 or 17, just before I turned 18. And you know, it's a fucking eye opener. You go out there, you're like, holy shit, there's a brigade of 14 people, you know, chefs going fucking mental. You know, he's got this pressure on his back. They've won the star. They got to maintain the star. It was back in that era as well. It's about, God knows, 16 years ago. It's back in that era, you know, where kitchens were hardcore, a la carte. No, there's tasting menu, very calm, controlled kitchen where you're just doing one dish per section. You know, it's a la carte, 1 star, central London on Marylebone Street, and it was mental, absolutely mental. I went up and thought, all right, this is pretty scary, but I'll give it a go. So moved up to London and did it for about 3 months and then quit. I was like, no, it's far too hard for me. To be honest, I never and haven't liked that sort of bully environment or that sort of hardcore environment of the kitchens. That's not the way I learned personally. But I know a lot of people do succeed and do very well under that system, but it never really worked for me.
Yeah, I've only seen it a few times in my restaurant career growing up, and I just recently did a stage at a restaurant, and it almost like triggered me. It was like PTSD. I was like, oh, I wasn't even getting yelled at, and it still gave me anxiety. You know, like
yeah, it does a little bit. You grow to get used to it. So I've sort of dabbled in the DJing then, and working at average restaurants for a few years, which took me on to I was with my girlfriend at the time whilst I was DJing. She had a driving license, so I was playing all over the country, and she'd drive me, which was fantastic. And you know, her friend's husband was head chef of a new opening called Devonshire Terrace in the Square Mile. And this is the first job where I sort of really got stuck in and learned the trade to a bit of a better extent, but not on the fine dining level. More of I started as a chef de partie when I was 20, I believe, and left at 23 as head chef. And Justin, who ran it, was an amazing chef to start with. There's a funny story behind that, I'll let you know. You know, we're doing everything fresh, foie gras parfaits, picking the crabs down, getting the whole crabs in, you know, all this like really nice food, but on a brasserie level. It was a 100-cover restaurant. And on to staging, the second majority shareholder was a guy called Mark Askew, which you might know from Boiler Room? No, Ramsey. You know, he's the exec of Ramsey's, of all the holdings, the Ramsey Holdings in the UK, the exec chef. And it was a Monday to Friday restaurant in the Square Mile, the banking district in London. So I sort of got into staging then because I still wanted to learn about the food, and I was going up the ladder there and getting support from the guys. But obviously didn't want to commit to, you know, when I was back at Orrery, it worked out at £2.60 an hour when you're working 90 hours a week on a 14 grand a year. And I had other commitments in my, it was 13 and a half a year or something. But when you put it up to the 90 hours a week, it worked out something like that. It's pretty rough. And I obviously had a life, and I wasn't fully committed to the cooking, and I was DJing. So this sort of gave me the balance by having the weekends off of this. Why I stayed there for 3 years. And Mark sort of said, do you want to go work at Petrus? When they opened the new Petrus, and got me into a lot of the Ramsey places. So I still learn because food is my passion and I love it, and it's really interesting. And it's developed on over the years, and yes, that started me off with the stages. So after that, I thought, all right, what am I going to do? Broke up with my girlfriend. went for a real sort of rough time. It's funny thing. I remember being on my first yacht. I was 25. It's a 28-meter. I started as a sous chef, and thinking 2 years ago I was in the streets of Soho smoking crack, rock bottom on the with crackheads on the street, doing fuck all with my life, sort of depressed because I didn't know where I was going, and just a real rough, horrible time. And thinking, wow, now you're on this guy. It's a 28-meter. I thought it was the best thing in the world. Getting paid $3,000 a month, tax free, and wow, what a job. So it's that sort of transitional period. I had to pull myself out of that and go, okay, what do I want to do? So I went back to a restaurant called Texture, which was Aggie Svensson and a modern Nordic restaurant, which had a star, and there's quite a lot of sort of good press behind it at the time. And
sorry, I just want to make a comment on what you just said, if you don't mind. Like, I just think that's such strength of character to go through something like that, and to just like, I'm gonna fix this. Yeah, I'm in a shit spot right now, but there's more. There's more.
It's when you hit rock bottom, like you hit rock bottom. It's depressing. If you've got any form of intelligence in you, that's not the right thing. You're just punishing yourself, and you got to hit that. I think you got to hit that bottom to come back up. I'm a quite of an addictive personality. When I get my head stuck into something, I'll do it fully and all the way. Yeah, and I was doing it fully and all the way, just the wrong way.
Yeah, I can tell by your food. You got stuck in the food as well. So yeah, I'll leave the other shit alone. But no, much respect for that, and for telling that story. I think that does a lot of good for people to hear.
Yeah, I think a lot of chefs go through, depression. A lot of people in the world, especially the world we live in, go through these tough times. Whether it be family problems or anything. It's just important to understand it, accept it, and there's no better thing than getting back out of it. Then if you just lived on a plateau, I think it would probably be quite boring. It's quite nice to have done that and get something from it, and then that gives you some drive moving forward, which is good. When in hindsight you look back at it like that, but at the time, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and you were young. Everybody makes mistakes, and that's still like I think the perseverance and the kind of wherewithal and self-knowledge. Like, nah, fuck this, I'm out of here. And look where you're at now. Yeah. It's amazing.
No, I'll get onto that. So then, yeah, thanks. So I did Texture for 3 months. Thought I could go back to this Michelin-star thing, and then 3 months I was like, "Fuck this!" Again, fuck this. I'm done. I'm not taking
why,
this shit.
Though? What part of it was the like kind of the deal breaker?
I was 24 and I was recovering from what I was doing, and I wasn't physically fit or mentally fit. Now I'll get onto it a bit later, but I've lost 20 something kilos, and I work out all the time now, and that's something which came later in life. But at the time I just wasn't mentally ready, I think. Yeah. Unfortunately, from what I've done to myself, which I sort of self-induced to a certain degree, unfortunately. So I love the food. I just don't like for me, it's the bullying atmosphere. It's that sort of, you do it right. And I'm quite, I can talk. If I don't think something's right, I talk back. And, that's not the structure of the system. So I didn't fit well in those environments because I just mouth off. Pretty much, as a young kid, I was at that time, I was 23, 24. Or definitely young to Michelin-star environments because I'd done a few stages. I've worked a month at Orre, and then I'd done 3 months there. So I resigned from that job and tell the chef, I'm going to go work on the yachts. Same as I told Mark Askew. Mark Askew said, you're going to waste your life. It's don't ever do it. It's a waste of career. Aggie told me the same thing. Absolute bullshit. What you do with yourself.
Oh man!
They've got in that position. They have to in that position. They're trying to hold professional people down who they want to keep for their jobs, and keep their teams together. Yeah,
because 3 other people could follow you out the door. I mean, I'm going to the Yachts too.
No, exactly. So I do understand it at the time, but I obviously didn't listen, and then moved over. Basically decided I want to go, and then borrowed. I had no money at the time. It's completely broke. At Texture, I was on a 1,100, and I moved close to Texture, and my rent was 1,050. So when you take in phone bills, I was pretty much in debt at the time, quite heavily in debt. So I borrowed $1,000 or whatever it was off my uncle. to do my STC. I got my mum to lend me 500 quid. So I bought all the equipment. I bought like the Espuma gun, the ISI, some soy lecithin, some xanthan gum and all this stuff, some Pro Espuma, and just played around for about 3 months in my mum's whilst looking for a job. And just sort of tried to teach myself and work on a few dishes myself on what I'd learned at those restaurants. I'll get into that a bit later in regards to styling and how you sort of basically to learn and develop, you copy and then you develop from that. But I can go into that a little bit more detail a bit later. So when decided to go, got a job on a 28-meter boat, flew out, picked up all my provisions from Antibes with about 300 quid. The captain says, do you mind getting the provisions? I'm like, I've got 300 quid to my name. I didn't say that to him. So I was like, literally clean me out of cash. I had enough money for the train fare because I was in Antibes at the crew house. I don't remember which one. And the trial was in Monaco, in Fontvieille. And so I picked all the provisions up, got on the train. I didn't know there's a market in Monaco. I thought, funny.
How would you know? Yeah.
Well, I didn't know. This looks good here. I'll take this. No, why take the risk? First time out there, and get over there, and the captain says, actually, the owner has decided he doesn't want to eat tonight. Why don't you fly back to his place with him in the UK tomorrow and do a 2-week trial? I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. No problem. So dumped the food, cooked for the captain quickly, and then went over. And then that's landed my first job on the boats, basically.
Perfect. That's great. How'd the owner react to your food for the 2-week trial? Besides getting a job, I mean, he must have been pretty pumped.
It was good. The food, to be honest, the food's developed a lot. It wasn't very good back then. I'll be honest with you. No one's was. Back then, but that's the interesting part about it. For me, it wasn't good. It was just a lot of technique with no individual style. It wasn't very good, but he liked it nevertheless. But at that, as you say, back then, the standard of Yacht Chef has grown dramatically over the last 10 years from what I've seen, which is fantastic for the industry and what we do. And everyone learns, groups like the Yacht Chef group, which you guys got, and things that you do, and there's a community and people want to share and learn and see and teach the courses, and there's so many things. People basically realize, I think, that you got to up your game, because back when I started, it was there were stewardesses cooking. They thought there's more money, so they'd come over and cook. And then the owners were used to that, I guess, to a certain degree on let's say 80% of the yachts, maybe. And nowadays, that percentage has changed, I'd say. Now you've got 80% who are professionals. Not that they're not professionals, are people who don't cook to a different standard. They're just a different style of cook for a different owner. But I think now the owners realize they can get, if they want Nobu, they get Nobu. If they want, Michelin-star, if they want anything, they can get it. So obviously now owners are a lot more used to that. Your agents are a lot more used to that sort of caliber and standard. That is weeded out some people who probably shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Absolutely.
I get that goes back to a point I was going to make. I probably shouldn't have been there in the first place, because I didn't think, at the time I thought it was good, but you look back, okay, and then you realize I was a 28-meter boat, and I go, okay, I look at all these boats. I'm in Monaco for 2 years on this boat, speaking to people and going, well, actually, I'm not very good at this. I'm not very good at this. All these things, actually, I need to improve on. And my development and learnings come from being given the freedom with great owners over the years. I've had the first 2 years, 15 months, not very good. 3 years, great. 2 boats before go. Symphony and Aquarius, just cooking what they want, not very good, and go. So I'm talking about 8 years now of 7.5 years of cooking whatever I want to cook, and keeping them happy with my style. So that's enabled me to develop a style which has been fantastic. And I look back then and you realize I'm not very good. So that's when I made the conscious decision to go, okay, I need to get back to the staging thing. This was good when I did it, at Devonshire Terrace years ago. So I started setting off. I go, okay, I want to go to whatever restaurants. I think I've done about 17 now, 2, 3, 1 stars, not the top
amazing.
50. And Thanks.
A lot
And
of stages, dude. Good for you. How long were they each, do you think, in average?
There's the question. So back in the day when I started, I was getting 2 months off. I really started going hard.
Yeah.
I won the chef competition in 2014, and hadn't done any stages before that on Zoom when I was in the yachting industry. And I thought, oh yeah, that was a blag. How do you do that? I was lucky. I better actually back this up with some solid knowledge now.
Yeah, expectations are high now.
Yeah, I'm fucked. that was everything I had. So I started literally. So I started the program then, and then I said, okay, I want to learn. Yeah, I want to be being better at this. I want to learn this style, and pinpointed restaurants. And then in regards to the timing, I've had to be a bit sly, unfortunately, because the fat ducks that you can come for 3 months, Miami 3 months, Geranium 3 months, all those places I've worked at, and I've told them I'm coming for 3 months. I only get 2 months holiday a year. There's no way I'm spending 2 months there, and that's still a month under what they want. It's one of those things. I'm giving them something by giving my free time, spending my money to go over there.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm qualified. I can fit in now. After the first couple, I'm quite liked and quite accepted, and they can, when you go to a stage, they can see if you're good or not. I've been on the pass at Geranium, they got me on after the second day. That's a funny story. I got into Geranium, and they're like, okay, I spent 8 hours with the tiniest melon baller, I'm talking about 3 mil melon ball in beetroots, about 8 hours.
Wow.
I just shut up and did it. Boom, 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 boom. And then the next day they're all right. So this guy hasn't walked out, or you can see he's dedicated. And then the next day they have me on the pass plating up.
Oh yeah.
So, they can see from when you go in, sort of, if you're good and can make it, and that's made it sort of enjoyable to go and do. And the recipes and the development of recipes have come from swapping recipes. So I go in and I've got my phone with all the recipes from the fat duck. I don't mind saying this because this is how I've learned in the situation where I'm in. I love yachting. I love being able to do what I want to do. I don't want the responsibility of a restaurant. I like cooking for personal people and developing a style around them.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in a restaurant, so I can go to these restaurants and I go to the sous-chef or the chef de partie, not the sous-chef. I get my ass kicked, and be like, hey, at Geranium, how do you do those dill stones? You've been there a few days. They're like, I'm like, do you want all the recipes from the fat duck? They're like, oh. And then I get their 3 recipes and I go around every section. So my recipe folder is it's pretty extensive based on that sort of recipe swapping. So helping other people out who are there and want to learn. People who are younger than me now. I'm talking, I was 27, 28, 29 doing this. And these are young kids in there, little go-getters at 22, 23, and they want these recipes and I want what they've got. But I can't just go and expect to get something for nothing.
Right.
So I sort of worked it around like that.
That's amazing, man. What a good little fucking graft. You're just like, I can, don't hate the player, don't hate the game, win the game. This is great, man.
No, it's good. Well, the idea is it's nice. We give one of the most fun things I've done and do is teaching for Justine at the course, because what I've developed there from that is now really it's so enjoyable to pass that on. I've done a couple of courses, a 2-day course, week course on plating and presentation, but it's more than that. It's we'll probably speak about it later, but it's the whole running of the galley and how you can prepare to create something quite spectacular in a minimal amount of time and still get your breaks and go to the gym and enjoy and it's set up properly. And that's what we teach on the course. So it's basically the knowledge is being passed on, which I think is fantastic, that I'm lucky enough to be able to pass it on to people. You see the smiles of the people who do the course. They absolutely love it. And I love it that they love it. And it makes my cheekiness feel a bit, I don't really feel bad about it, but some people might say that. I don't. But it's nice to be able to pass that on. The sort of cheekiness of going to places and not, doing the full amount of time and this, that. But unfortunately, that's just, it happens all the time in these restaurants.
I think any chef would respect that. I think it's just like, I still want to do the stage. I can't give you 3 months. I'm still going to work 1 month, 2 weeks, whatever. But I can't give you 3 months. I'm sorry. But
the thing is, you won't get in if you don't tell them you're giving them 3 months. So you got to be able to, tell them that. Anyway.
So how do you get out? Good. You just say, I just don't show up, or like I can, or something's come up with a family, or.
Nah, I just say the boss is coming back on board. I've been called back.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, it works. Better than just running away. I'll face it.
Yeah. No, I love it. I don't think anyone would find any fault in that. It's just like, wow, that's just what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do it. You know, it's just kind of that chef craftiness. Respect, man.
Yeah, it's good. It's been really good. And then from taking all those recipes, then sort of I've developed a style. As I said, I thought it wasn't very good back then, and now it's getting to a point where it flows a bit more freely and it's a bit more natural. So the sort of process behind it is that I started off by copying a dish to the T. So I go, okay, I'll go and eat at a restaurant. Before any restaurant I go start at, I go make sure I eat the full menu before I go there. So I understand everything. I can watch everything when I'm in the restaurant and see, I'm not just seeing techniques and not knowing what they taste like, what they're going on, what plate, what they're for, when I'm looking around all the different sections. So I go and eat there and then go, and it's sort of, I develop it from basically copying it from T to T. So, a recipe or a dish, and then seeing how my palate accepts it and how I can tweak it a bit. And then from that, doing that for, from 27 to 30, and then you get out of that, and then you've got so many techniques and styles and understanding of palate of what I think's great, but what also they think's great. Not sometimes, everyone has different views on it. Well, whether it be salt, acidity, spice, in regards to like seasoning, flavor, presentation, size, everything. But I got an idea which is right for me now, and then it's slowly developed into something which I like to think is my own style, which is me now becoming the most interesting part of my career, because now I can actually cook. Now I've trained myself to cook. I couldn't cook 20 years ago. I couldn't cook 10 years ago. I couldn't cook 4 years ago. Now I can say I'm happy learning to cook, or like being able to cook what I think's cool, and the ideas flow freely, which is it's been a long process, but an interesting one.
Yeah, I can imagine. I feel like you're on the right boat too, where you're allowed to kind of explore what you want to do. Where I feel like, I'll just speak to my situation, not anyone else in yachting, but like with a charter boat, you are pinned to what they want, and it is. Yeah. There are opportunities to shine, but a lot of it's like, oh, take care of the kids, or make us a packed lunch. And it's just really showing them the best time you can with food. So, but man, it'd be really interesting to hear how you kind of do pre-trip prep, pre-season prep, and like what you roll into the season with.
It's extensive, super extensive. So it stems from the original concept, stemmed from the 28-meter, and I had 2 chest freezers, and I got on, and we were chartering then as a charter boat. I did charter boats for about 5 years, generally as a sous chef, and I plan my menus. There's no way I could keep up with what I was attempting to do back then without having the prep. So we started with this small list of 5 purees, few sauces, oils, things like that, and started freezing them down in Ziploc bags. At the time we didn't have a backpack machine on the little boat. It worked in a little chest freezer in the bilge in the guest area. Small boats is fun, and it sort of developed from there. Now I've got 2 sous chefs now who rotate full time, and they deal with a lot of the prep for me. I'll get into that in a bit, and it's an amazing thing to have 2 amazing guys who are really interested and want to learn. And I worked with Josh years ago for a little bit, and a couple of great guys who I've worked with, and they like working with people, and they then go and see they're doing amazing things, which is fantastic. So I started with this small little prep list, and then sort of developed over the years to something which I have now on go, which we have a product list of about 190 odd items for everything. So it's a lot of it standard, which I think most yacht chefs do nowadays. I think we just go excessive on it because our owner wants a different dish every day, every dinner. He's on for 8 months a year. He wants something different every day. Lunches are simple, like really nice Italian food. Lovely sushi. They're using Dennis's products and stuff like that. Simple salads and all that stuff, which is great. Amazing tomatoes, just done right. Even for instance, our tomato salad, like just
I've seen that photo. It's beautiful.
Beautiful cherry tomatoes, but we use a vinegar fluid gel. the right oil, then the right bit of vinegar, right salt, and the vinegar fluid gels, the killer. We use that. It's the viscosity, I believe the word is. So it's, we use fermented tomato water, or we have these base waters which we make. So we like get pine needles, for instance, and or pine trees needles, spruce, whatever, peppercorns, and then backpack them 80 degrees in water, and then we make this vinegar fluid gel, which is 25% sugar, 25% white wine vinegar, and then there's this liquid, and then thermo it with 2% agar. So it just makes a gel, and then you standard procedure, set it, blend it, and so we add these sort of back notes of you obviously got the acidity, the sweetness, and then flavor as well from whatever. It's
50% like spruce water or something else that you've kind of cooked up.
Any flavored water, basically. We can cold infuse flowers from Heidi's Herbs. You've had it on recently. Anything really. Yeah. Anything you want to do. The vanilla. The possibilities are endless. And that so a simple thing like a tomato salad at lunch. It's just peel the tomatoes, get them out 4 hours before, room temperature, well seasoned, beautiful olive oil, extra salt and extra dash of like good Chardonnay vinegar, plus this vinegar fluid gel, maybe some fermented tomato water. Marinate them, bash some basil in there, and you got this thing which is so simple, but it's so good when you're using great quality products, and you got a little bit of technique between it as involved with that process as well. You end up with something special, and it's just a tomato salad, but it's tasty as fuck, and it's just all those little things which make a huge difference.
It's beautiful as well. Like I've seen photos of it. I know it tastes good, but it's simple, but it's not. I mean, simple's not the right word for it. It's just.
Well, it is simple to see and eat, but it's complex on the palate, and everything's right about it, but the product's right, which is good. But then back to the dinners, and he's on for 8 months or whatever, and a long time. And there's different canapé sometimes, or a mousse if we want to. Starter, main dessert, pre-dessert, whatever we choose to do. If I want to do 3 courses or 6, he doesn't mind. So I just do whatever I want, depending on how tired I am, I guess, on how much prep's left in the freezer. So we have this product list of about 190 products. So we have purees go from we take a product like artichoke, and we'll do it like 4 different ways. We'll do a caramelized one, we'll do one with beurre noisette, we'll do one with like coal butter, which is a real amazing technique. So just literally just put how do you pronounce the Japanese charcoal? Bichotang. Yeah. So that just in the butter, and put a pan on it, and you got this very smoky butter which we finished so much stuff with, but you can finish purees with it. So and then we got like a boiled one. So we got like one vegetable product, and we manipulate it in different textures to a certain degree, or holds it different ways. Now we've got all these different flavor profiles from it, and then we do that to every vegetable. So then then you got like whatever 60 purees. We're making them bags.
There's your 192.
That's just one of the bits, and you've got that there. And then when it comes to service, and we've got obviously the crispy bits, we've got all the sauces made beforehand. Rob's really good with that. Rob's making all the sauces at the moment. I leave the guys to it. I trust them. Show them my recipes, and if they got anything that which is better, we work on it, and I'll use theirs. There's no power or ego thing when it comes down to the plating. They're my dishes. But as I told Ross, the new sous chef, you can come, learn. The crew. So I used to cook a lot for the crew up until about a year ago, and be involved in that, and think that was me being a team player. And I realized I've stopped that over the last year and gone, okay, Rob, you're going to do that, and then if you want to get involved and help, because that doesn't take the whole time. I don't need to be helping. You're good enough to easily bash it out in 4 hours, 5 hours on trip, and then you need to push and work to help yourself, help me, help the department, and then if you want to educate yourself, I've stopped putting that time into them. And I stated that to the new sous chef, on the on the interview, and if they're happy to do that and do their job first, and then I'm happy for them to develop and play with dishes, and literally we test everything. there's not a lot of people on, you know, we might have, they're not fully full boat all the time. We test everything. We're always testing. Every dish we do, I'll take it out if there's time. You know, if it's super busy and we got big family trips and you know, you haven't got time. But everything we test. And what's so important about that process is that we'll obviously taste everything, every component, test every component, but then bring the dish together. Look at all the plates. We've got an amazing array of plates. And go, okay, what's it going to look best on? Try it on that, try it on that. Okay. And then, okay, what is this going to work? Is that going to work? And then plate it up, eat it. Me and the sous eat it together. So we're training ourselves. And this is how you train yourself. That this is the way to understand if your dish is right or not. And you always have an opinion on it, right? It's going to be better with a bit more acidity, you know, a little bit less on the fish, or, you know, if the texture on that just isn't quite right, or there's too much of that and not enough of this for the mouthfeel, and all these type of things. And that's when you really start to hone in on what's good, and being able to have the time, because you have the prep to do that. Because obviously if we're making sauces and purees and oils and all that crap, you know, we wouldn't be milling around in the galley plating a dish up before service to test it to see if it's good. There's no time.
You
have
no time. You have
no time. No time at all. Because of the way we have everything set up, we generally have time, and that's an important part of self-development, I think. Massive. And it's really nice to show the sous chefs that, and then we can comment and they can get a feel, because I want them cooking. I'm just trying to work something out at the moment where they cook a month for the boss each. So I got 4 months at the moment, but I'm going to take another 2. But we don't want to get another rotational in, because he's not head chef, because there's no point, because I'm on for so much. What head chef wants to come on and cook for like 2 months? Well, there might be a few, or there might be loads, but it's just, and then just do nothing for 4 months. So we're gonna, and it's better for my team and the sous to go, okay, right, now if we can get this to you and you can do a month, you know, so by us tasting and developing and then tasting what goes out to the boss, and then they've got an exact understanding, that I think the boss will maintain a level of sort of standardized food. Seasoning wise, specifically, he loves salt. There's so much salt. Now I got a real sort of tolerance for it. I can have a lot. I smoke too much, but he really goes for it. Sometimes he's like, I would watch him on the camera, he's putting more salt. I'm like, fucking hell, man, are you joking? Seriously, but so that's what we try with the developing of the sous. To develop the sous, we're going to hopefully take that route this year, which I think I'm really excited for them.
That means they have the same time off, like all 3 of you are just kind of rotating through.
No. So they do 2-2. They do 2-2, and if I take 2 extra months, we'll hire another sous in for that time. So we'll get temp sous for a month and a temp sous for another month. So they'll step up to the head position. Yeah, I'm excited for them. I really hope that the system works and the boss likes it. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Wow, it's a great way to develop your team. It's a great way to show, like, almost pass the torch. Like, you're not going to be here forever. I might as well show you how to be a head chef.
Yeah, exactly. I think all the guys I've had, they're all very, very capable of being head chefs. I'm just teaching them not to be a head chef. They can see and take whatever they want from me. My job's to teach them how to cook for the boss, like what our owner wants and what he likes from me. Until someone comes along and does that better, that's the standard. You know, if we get someone else and the boss likes their food, well, I'll learn off them or go get another job, you know. But it's really teaching them to cook for him, and adapt some of the styling, which you know, we've all developed together as a team.
Wow, it's a very interesting scenario. That's cool, man. Good for you. I like that. It's just kind of like the perfect storm where it all fits together, where the boss wants to eat like that. He'll do a simple lunch. The sous are involved. They want to be involved. They want to learn. It's cool, man. I like it.
It's good. It's all quite happy there at the moment.
Yeah,
it's been a good 4 years.
That's awesome. What do you have any like other projects on the background that you want to talk about?
Not, to be honest, not so much. I've got a load of personal projects, but not cooking ones.
Okay, all right.
No, to be honest, I'm quite happy. As I said, I'm at that stage now where I'm feeling I can sort of progress on my own terms without so much needing to go stage twice a year. Not saying I'm going to stop. So I'm just looking forward to the next 5 years of developing that style, basically, and just focusing in a bit more, honing in a bit more, progressing a little bit more in myself as a cook. I can't see myself doing anything else but the yachts. I really enjoy it. I don't want to run a business. I would do some pop-ups in the future. I mean, me and Josh have spoken about maybe doing a few. I'd love to do some pop-ups with some chefs from the industry, maybe out of a van or, in the woods or something like that. Something cool, something interesting.
Yeah, just a barbecue, just a real kick-ass barbecue, like cook everything on wood.
Yeah, something like that sort of excites me, to learn something a bit different, which, that's not what I know, and to learn some from other chefs. So definitely I'd like to do some collaborations in the future, but I'm pretty much stuck in the goal that I like the yachts. I'm quite happy on the boats. I sort of feel like I thrive there, and there's not much more I want to do. I'm quite happy. Yeah, and it's weird to say that, because you push for something your whole life, from going through whatever you go through and doing whatever you do in a professional career, and you're always trying to get somewhere. You're always looking to progress. Right. And now it hit me a couple of years ago. I said, "Fuck, what's next?" Well, does there need to be anything next? In regards to, actually, if I'm quite happy and I've got a 5-year development point where I sort of set myself, I'm just going to settle into not thinking what's next, and just what will happen naturally over time, and you meet the right people, and things might develop. But I'm not going to push myself mentally in that regards to I need to do here, I need to get here, because I've spent my whole life trying to get, trying to be a bit better DJ, or trying to, work at a better restaurant, or trying to be on a bigger boat. That was 17 years of that crap, which there's nothing wrong with it. It was amazing.
Well, you learned a lot, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been amazing. But now, it was a bit of a head fuck, to be honest with you, to think, to actually accept that I'm just going to settle for a while and just roll out and sort of see how I can develop for myself without needing to be anywhere else in life, and just sort of settle a bit at my age.
I really like that idea, though. Like you touched on something a couple paragraphs ago, just about like I just want to keep learning. I want to I think that's the best part about food, is it's impossible to know it all. And like, I get so excited still after cooking for 30 fucking years, like a new technique or just something silly, like the yacht chefs, you crack a bunch of eggs into a bowl and you poach them all at once. Like
I love it.
So excited. That gets me so excited. But I also get angry at that. It's like I've been poaching eggs wrong all my fucking life, like one at a time, like a dickhead. Why?
I think everyone got angry at that when they saw that video.
I think so. Everyone's like,
Rob told me about it. I was like, look at this. I saw Dean do this. I was like, okay. It's cool. It is forever. And the thing is, with the industry, especially chartering, it is extensive. That's when I went back, I did 2 places which I was really happy to work. I worked with a guy called Max Levy, where they hired me as a temp head chef on Symphony to come home for a charter. And they had this interview with the purser, with the captain, and management, and all this crap. And they were like, "So we want 2-star Italian and 2-star quality sushi." I was like, "All right, cool. What does that mean?" I said, "I've just worked at Quattro Passi on the Amalfi Coast. I can do the Italian. We're good." And I told him, "There's no way I can do 2-star sushi. Not a chance. It's impossible. I don't have the technical knowledge,
the background
at all. I don't. That's a skill position." So I told him that. And they're like, "We'll give you the job anyway." They must have been desperate. I was like, okay, fine. They're 1.5 million a week for a charter. I was like, all right, fine.
All right.
Okay. So I thought about it for about 20 minutes, and I called Dennis up. I said, "Dennis, do you know anyone?" And he's like, "Yeah, I know someone." So I rang the captain back up and the purser. I said, "Look, how about this? I'll get someone in to work with me." And it's a 101 meter boat, and we've got space. There's only 2 chefs in the galley as well. We could have done with a third
as well. I heard it's a tough galley, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just another boat. But
no comment.
Yeah. So we hired this guy in. So the company say, "Yeah, that's a good idea." So we put this Max forward. He's worked at a 2-star restaurant. He has his own sushi bar in Max Levy. He owns his own sushi bar in Hong Kong, and we flew him in. And then, so they accepted it, and I was like, and Burgess paid for it, and they said, "Good idea." I was like, "Well, I think someone's thinking." So we sorted it out. sorted out. And he came, and it was a funny story because basically he taught me how to really respect the rice and the fish, like the bright, it's like the pH level of the water, polishing the rice, all these like fine details. Every piece of uni.
Amazing.
I'll call you after to show you everything. I've actually given I know a load of tutorials. I can send them over to you.
I'll be on
video.
Yeah, perfect.
But it's really interesting, like the technical process behind it, which you just blew my mind. So I went to my first boss on that 28 meter, flew me to the Maldives to learn, and I learned my American sushi out there because he wanted to know it, and I learned it, and then still obviously it wasn't great. This is authentic, and then obviously using Dennis's product is next level. It makes it really, really, really special. And anyway, so that learned that sushi. But the funny story about that is that there was only 2 clients for the charter, and Max was cooking his food. I was doing the Italian, and he was doing his. And the clients after 3 days were like, "It's not really what we want. We want the real product." He's replicating dishes from his restaurant. He's given them really interesting food, but he's never been on a boat before. I've got to manage him and the expectations and all that, even though he's whatever he is, famous chef. It's my job to sort of say this is a boat and whatever. Yeah. So the next day we go with the boss, the principal client, into Capri and get this lobster and go up to the sun deck as a teppanyaki bar. And so he's like, "You want the real product, do you?" It's like, okay. So he kills the lobster. Me and him are down running around serving them canapes while he gets this lobster and kills it in front of them. And the lobster's squealing, squirting out everywhere. He did it professionally, like proper pro. But the look on this woman's face,
dead.
The look on this woman's face was like she was in shock.
Wow.
I guess so. He chops it up and serves it to them, and you could see they didn't know what to think. It was what they asked for, it's what they requested. I thought it was a good idea personally as well. I don't know about killing it in front of them, but it's a teppanyaki bar, it's an open thing. And I get the call from the captain the next day. He comes to the office. Yeah, sure. What's up? And he's like, the guests want him gone tomorrow, like now, whatever. And they can't look at another bit of fish again. We booted him off. But not only told me the poor bastard. He's like, "What is going? I'm never coming back to a boat again." I bet he was thinking. I think we're paying him about 1,500 a day. So, and he got paid out the 10 days and did about 3. So
good.
He did all right. Yeah. He's an amazing guy to learn from. It's really cool.
That's what's hard to balance kind of the expectations of these wealthy individuals, and they might not know shit about food. That's the hard part. It's really the difficult part sometimes.
I always tell Rob this. I'm like, "Rob, that's my sous chef. I'm like, we know what we're doing. Like we're the professionals. They might not like it, well, we adapt it to them, but you can't doubt yourself. And sometimes you put out something you think is great and it's not for them. Okay, well, you take it, note it down, you can see why, analyze it, and then go down a different route. But you should never doubt what we know, regardless of how tricky and hard they are. We are the professionals, and as long as you've got a decent array to work from, you shouldn't run into much trouble if you've got a proper skill set to fall back on. And also, it's a lot of understanding and reading people and humans. There's a lot of sort of psychology behind it. When you go out there, you speak to them, they clap or they look at you funny or whatever, and you can ask the right questions and figure out how our job's to really serve them and make them have an amazing time. So if you haven't got it after the first meal, you've got to get it the second or you're fucked.
Once they're on your side, then you can do whatever the hell you want, and they gotta like you as well. They gotta appreciate you as a personality as well. There's no way like sometimes you kind of get, some people might try to sequester you into the galley and like, no, I'm going out. I want to meet the guests, because otherwise we're just like this black hole that food comes out of, like without a personality. And plus they want to see a chef. They want to talk to chef. They want to feel like they have a celebrity chef on board. Like they just want that kind of that experience, and it's part of the job.
I fully agree, and that all boils down to one of the most important relationships on board the vessel is the head chef and the chief stew or purser, whoever's dealing with the guys. Now, if you haven't got that right, I've been in some situations where I haven't had that right, and it's ruined. I've had to. It's ruined trips, basically. I've worked very hard, even if it's not been easy, to and it is nowadays, that in the past not been easy to make that from the mistakes I've made in the past, to realize that you need them on side. They need to be reporting every word, every smile, every this, every that off of every dish back to you, showing you all the plates, how much is taken, portion control. You go out there and speak to them, you go and speak to them together as a team. If you guys aren't working together, the thing's fucked from our perspectives as chefs, I believe, because you don't have any feedback, you get misinformation, you get people who aren't really nice, who will try to fuck you because they whatever in their life. For me personally, I've experienced, and really bad, unprofessional people. I think that the larger the size you go up, the more professionality is required from that role, and if you have if it's run well from the top, you know, it's good. But it's really important for that to be right, as you say.
I think I've been very lucky. Like my past, let's see, from Magumbo onwards, just had amazing chief stews on Magumbo, and then Arian's the same. Like I've just been super lucky.
I think a lot of people are. Sorry, go on.
It's just luck, you know. You don't know who you're gonna walk into. Like you have no idea someone's food knowledge or passion for food, and I think chief stews is a very difficult job. I think it's one of the hardest jobs in food. Like I think chefs get the credit for having a difficult job, and it is. But chief stew, man, you got a lot of plates in the air.
It's managing all those girls, isn't it?
But it's like then you got to manage the captain, you got to manage the guests, you got to manage the chef, you got to manage the chief engineer for repairs, like
and a big team of girls. It's never the easiest part.
Yeah. Oh man, it's hats off to the ones that do it with a smile, do it well, and are able to
between me and you
at the same time.
Nah, 100%. Between me and you, we got it easy compared to that.
I agree. I agree. Hats off to them. They don't get enough credit. And then they get really good and they end up leaving the industry. So you're like, oh shit.
Well, that's one of the things, you know, they are on the old the clock, unfortunately. Us engineers and the captains, we're pretty sound for a good few years, I'd say.
Yeah,
more so than the stewardesses, which is, you know, there's personal preference, isn't it? Some people, to be honest, some people, each to their own. Some people probably like to get out mid-30s, and then, you know, there's time for another phase in their life. Because you find a lot of people that come into the industry for that position, unlike chefs, don't come from a massively catering qualified background, and they pick it up on the job from amazing people which have gone before them and do courses and so on and so forth. But you don't find, you know, the sommelier or head waiter at Ramsay's 3-star coming into the yachts, whereas you do find the chefs from there filtering in. So it's a very different position. So maybe they don't look at it as a, I don't know, I can't speak for anyone, you know, it might be nice to leave at 35 and do something else. Whereas we're sort of stuck with what we do.
That's an important point you just made. And I just realized it now as we were talking. It's like you have these people that didn't come from a hardcore training background whatsoever. And I'm amazed at some of their capacity to learn on the job, like some of their capacities to learn this trade on the job. It's some of them, you can just tell they're superhuman. They got big brains.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. You meet some amazing people on the boats, really amazing people, special, talented people. Yeah, it's really great industry. I've got lots of good friends from over the years, which I think are really, you know, talented, special people. This is fantastic.
Agreed.
It's really good.
If I ever do, at some point, I'm going to be too old to cook on a boat, so it's inevitable.
My question to you is, what age is that?
Oh man, I don't know. I'm still like, body feels good, brain feels good, like, but it's, you know, I've got an idea.
It's either relationship or I've got a number in my head. I just wonder what your number is.
I don't know. I think it's going to be, once I can get galley design some momentum, I can go do that. Like I don't want to leave the industry. I love the industry. It's fun. Like I don't want to not cook too. So there'll be some sort of balance there, I guess. But I'm 40. I turned 45 in a month, so the clock's ticking for me too.
I don't know. I don't know if it's how you look or what. You don't look old. Like I guess if you're like an old man, grey beard, you know, wrinkles everywhere, you look like you're 70 and you're 50, you probably wouldn't get a job. But if you look normal, if a normal 50-year-old does, you'd probably be fine.
Yeah, I think so.
I'd say.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I can't imagine doing anything else too. Just like you said it more succinctly than I ever have, where you're just kind of like, I love working on yachts. This is bullshit good. Like The amount of like these two what $50,000 ovens behind me, like this is bullshit. The Wagyu.
Yeah. For me, it's a laziness thing. I think. Like I don't want I love the cooking element. As I say, I've been good at much, and I'm quite happy fitting in there. But I don't want to go and learn taxes, go and learn business management, go and learn how to set a structure up, go and learn all these things. I do a lot of other stuff which is occupy my time in my personal life, whether it's doing my house or the van or kiting or snow, whatever I want to do, restaurants. That's my personal time, which I've got into a position where I can do both now. If I've changed and wanted to take a change of career and run a restaurant or do anything like that, investment or not, even if I had millions behind me, I don't think I'd do it, because I've worked hard to be in this spot where I am now, where I can divide my life into things professionally and sort of at home, which is a perfect balance to me. So it is a bit of a lazy aspect, but I'm very happy with where I'm at, because I don't want to go and relearn all these things to do something different, where I'm very happy here and I can have this structure between a balance of personal and professional work, personal professional life.
I agree.
Which is
that's the same,
for me. I'm sweet like that.
It's always been that way. It's like I've been riding that motorcycle around the world for 15 years now, and I've always needed that. After like to go from like a pretty white boat to taking like dirty food from dirty hands in a third world country and being okay with that. Being like, well, fuck it. I need to eat. I can't eat a packet. I'm going to get diarrhea for a day and then it's over, and then it'll be fine.
We grew up in Jamaica with my brother. It's pretty gnarly.
I bet.
My mum still lives in the jungle out there. That's crazy.
Awful.
I could never ride a bike. And scare the shit out of me.
Oh, it's like flying, man. It's fun. I love it. Yeah, I love it. I'm probably gonna go back to Bali in January. Just take off some more islands and go. I wanted to go scuba diving in Raja Ampat as well. What I did in Komodo for scuba diving was unreal, and Raja Ampat supposed to be like up there with the Red Sea in terms of diver's paradise. Nice.
Yeah, diving's good, eh? It's good.
Yeah. But yeah, we got off track there. Start talking about me.
Yeah. You should do one on you.
So if someone invites me, I'll do it, but I'm not gonna do one on me on my own fucking podcast.
You should get me and Josh and JB and whoever else has been on, and Dean and stuff, and all question you.
That'd be hilarious.
All fire from different angles.
Yeah, that would be fun. I think it would end up just being like banter and talking shit. Like
I like the idea of it.
Yeah, so do I. It's a good one. All right. Well, this is like, we talked about. So you talked about having that like prep list done before the season, as much as you can, and then you just top it up as you go, as things go down between trips. But you don't really have between trips. Not a lot.
Yeah, no, we just run it down per season. We work with what we've got. We top it up in small amounts, but we find the amount which we do in the freezer space and fridge space which we have on board. Nothing like your boat. God, your boat. I've seen your fridge a million times. I'm so jealous.
Yeah, and the freezer is just like we store shit in the freezer. Like there's extra
crazy
pans in there and stuff. Like there's cling film in there.
It's so lucky. I've actually put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 6 fridges and freezers since I've been on board since the build. Big ones, just small ones,
scattered around,
scattered around everywhere. We got a tiny little thing. So now we're good. But beforehand it wasn't very good. But now we don't really need to retop so much. I find it comes to the end of the season. Now we re-detail, clean the thing down, smash it out, order all the new equipment and whatever else we need. Look at new dishes. Designed a few really cool molds with the Mold Brothers. So we looked at what they did for the Bocuse d'Or and the Dutch team, a Danish team, sorry. With the guys from Grammars Cove from Geranium.
Were those the molds that go on the inside of a bowl? So I watched a little bit of that.
There was the red puree.
Oh yeah, that was on the bottom. And they had a couple cool ones, like they would be like inset on the bowl, so they'd have to like carefully like. It looked pretty cool.
Yeah, a couple. Basically, I just screenshotted them and sent them to them. They said we can't do the exact same because it's copyright when it's for the Bocuse d'Or, but we'll design you something. Design you something similar. So they just designed something similar. So we restock, look at new dishes, re-prep, Rob's just gone on rotation. He's just done the handover, but the freezer is pretty much full of the backpacked small little bags of prep, and everything's ready to go again for when I join.
That's
so
awesome.
It's like a dream job, really. You
it
get on,
really
I get
cool.
on.
I'd love to see it, like, because you must, like, you come back from leave, you open up the freezer, you're like, everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah,
you just see it's all packed.
Well, the thing is, I wouldn't want to. I can't. Not that I can't. I've done the job before like that and worked 19 hours a day. That's fine. But over a prolonged period of time, your output is really, really fucking down here. It takes its toll on you. You don't think fast. You don't think straight. It's not normal for people to work 2 months, 19 hours a day, 18, 17 hours a day, every day. It's not possible. We need to be able to keep the standard up. So we need that prep up. And that sort of allows me and my sous chef, I'll be taking 4-hour breaks. We'll go down to the gym. We'll get up in the morning. Me and my sous will go train. I lost 25 kilo over the last 2 or 3 years, which has been a massive sort of inspiration for me, because it's one of those things that you get into the yachting and you get into the party side of things. And then for me personally, I didn't really watch my weight, and I didn't really care about it either. And then I got to 31, and I got up to like 90 something. I'm 5'5". I'm pretty small, 5'6". I'm pretty small. I got up to like 90 something kilos, maybe plus. And I you just suddenly look at yourself and think, what the fuck has just happened? Your last sort of 8-7 years are gone, and you're like, hey, what happened here? So it's a sort of a realization moment. And then since then, I've been massively working on it. So we do more prep, more, everything that all that stuff allows us to live our lives as well. Because when we're on there for 8 months, even though the sous are on rotation, or 6 months or whatever it is, say 5 months in the med, it's a long time, but I'm on there myself, and you need to live as well. And it's not just work. It's about rest. It's about eating well, eating the right proteins, the right carbs, the right slow releasing, carbohydrates, all this stuff with real good vitamins and minerals from your fruit and your veg, your green juices, loads of water, working out twice a day, which we do on board, or once a day at least. And I tell you, I've had the best season, I think, for me personally, for food and development this year. And a lot of it's come from obviously the support I've got from the team, which is amazing.
I see you have the stews helping you plate. I thought that was really cool.
No, that's what I'm on about, my sous chefs. I just do that for fun. They love it. That's just the fun sometimes. We like to have a good laugh with the girls. They're amazing. And it's fun to, if something's wrong, I'll pull the chief steward aside after service. I'll point it out, and we'll have a word quietly, because there's always something. It's never going to be perfect all the time. And my job is also, as you say, they don't come from these type of backgrounds, to train them to a certain degree and go, okay, right, this is how we do service. This is how I want it done. This is how you're going to take it off. This is how you're going to walk up to a certain degree. It needs to be put down this way. If it's not put down this way, it looks like a fucking upside down pineapple. It doesn't look right. It needs to be this way. And, we iron out little cracks, but we do it in a nice manner. And we never bully or shout or be aggressive or anything. And we like to have fun in the galley with the girls. We get them in. If it's a dish where he can be quite, funny with the flowers, and it works for that plate, it doesn't matter if they go here, there. We all just go put them on. And they have a laugh. It's good fun. It's good fun.
Cool, man. No, this is it's. I think I have one more question for you, but it's a great chat to have, and I think it's pretty inspirational, even for an old dog like me to hear.
Old dog.
But like, I've been in the industry a while.
I feel like the old dog. I'm 35 this month.
I've seen it change, like you said earlier. I think the global food knowledge of everyone has gone up. And I think that's from starting with the Food Network and just the popularity of all these chef programs and people eating out more. And it's fascinating to watch. I love it, because it's way more fun to have actually educated guests on board and educated crew that like to eat cool shit. It's way more fun.
It's an amazing industry. It is. The world's your oyster as a chef. There's so much I don't know. I've specifically gone down one style, which I like, a few styles, but there's so many which I don't have a clue about. Completely clueless. which I'd like to pick up at some point. But the trick is when I want, if it's not relevant to the owner at the time, and it's when to pick that time to go back now and differentiate between the time in my personal life and when I want to go and stage at somewhere. Like for me, like Chinese cooking, really good Chinese cooking, and like cooking on fire. They're two things I'd like to really learn and improve on. But in time, as you say, I've got a lot of time. But
I'm trying to get her on as a guest too. Ebony Baker. She did a
so Ebony. Yeah, Ebony. Yeah. So her first ever job. She did
that course down in South America, the barbecue course.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
I'll give her a call. I hired her. The first ever job she had on a boat was with me at the Monaco Grand Prix on that 28 meter I told you about 9 years ago. Right. So I just got a temp chef and it was her, and that's how we met. That's
amazing. Yeah, she's awesome.
There's a funny story behind it, is what people are like with boats and sizes and things like that. So, she comes and works for me there, and she's a really cool girl. And then the next thing is about 5 years later, I'm on Unbridled. My first job with a sous chef was a 59 meter, 57 meter. And she rocks in on, what's that fucking boat called? The 90 meter. She was on for a while. No, she rocks in on Lady Laura. And I'm like, hey, you're doing all right. Good for you. She's looking at me like, look at you down there.
We all go like this sometimes, it doesn't matter.
It really doesn't. And
it doesn't.
Going up, I thought at the start it was all about size, and then going to the bigger boats and coming back, I realized that's got fuck all to do with it. Nothing to do. As long as you got a team around you, obviously you need 2 chefs, I believe. A team around you. It's all about the people who you surround yourself with and the people who employ you. And that's all that matters. There's nothing else. I could be on a rusty old warship, as long as I had the right galley.
Galley, you make the right food.
It wouldn't matter if it was 10 meters, or 50 meters, or 200 meters. I think it really doesn't make a difference. It's just something I changed my opinion on, from 5 years ago. But when I started, my dream was, to get on a big boat. You start on a small boat. It's like, I want to get on a bigger boat.
Right.
And then you grow up a bit.
Yeah, what I realize is because you're like, you get paid more, you have better facilities, you have someone else helping you with guest food, you can do more stuff, and it's like, man, there's just more food. It's just more food to bring in, more food to feed the crew with, more food to basically throw out. You're like, this sucks. I like the 60 meter size. For me, it's like 60 to 70 is perfect.
100%. That's something that bugs me on board, the wastage. It's a real issue. Man. It really gets to me. But please fill me in if you've got a way to, or spoken to anyone on how to solve it. You've got to cook for the crew. Not on about the owner here. You got to cook for the crew, and you need to provide everything for certain dietary requirements across the board. And there's not any chicken left, but there's everything else. Someone's going to kick off, and that's not, you can't have that. So you have to overcook, basically, other than 20% or whatever. You have to overcook to a certain degree, depending on the management structure and the budget. But if people come in, they're not going to be happy after a hard day's work. All they got to look forward to after months on trip is their chicken breast. They love that, and it's not there. You don't want to do that to someone either. You're going to make them feel bad. It's certainly really not certain people like about their food.
Yeah, it's the only thing that doesn't change in their day.
And then how you can't solve that wastage problem. You need to overcook, and it's something that really, really gets me. A friend of mine said to me the other day, I was talking to him about it a few weeks ago. Nothing to do with boats, it wasn't. And I was telling him about it, and he said, "Well, why don't you just give it to the homeless or something?" I said, "Look, legally, if you're in port, you can't be." One, there's a legal, the boat is liable if anyone gets ill, and there's no homeless people around Monaco anywhere, pretty much the places which we go.
Yeah, Monaco.
But we're just trying to think of some way to sort of deal with it, but I don't know if there is.
I told you what I've done in the past. It was mostly in Greece, and this is through Costas, through A1. It's the only time I ever use an agent provisioner, because Costas is that good. So I also get tired of, at the end of a trip, it's day one, but you still have to have fucking everything in the fridge in case they ask for something. And you can't just wean down and the last day of the trip is there's nothing left. It's not possible. So we're doing back to back. So basically I gotta take 3 to 5 fucking bags out. This is on Magumbo where the walk-in was much smaller. So what I would do is I would give it to I put the bags aside, Nothing that was off, of course. But then just take on the provisions and then whack those bags in the provisioning truck and then give it to a homeless shelter.
Okay,
So
that's fucking amazing.
Free food for them.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but I think you're right.
I
You
tried
got the
doing it on
liability of
unbridled.
all this shit. Just like
Yeah, I tried doing it on unbridled, and they wouldn't let me. They're like, no, because if someone gets sick, they're going to sue the boat.
Yeah,
You know,
I had a cool
they could potentially. That's really nice.
Yeah, I think they just appreciate food. I think that's what's kind of upside down about our world, is we worried more about the lawyers than we do about fucking hungry people.
Yeah, the world's a funny place. The world's a funny place in the moment, but that's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole other conversation.
You just got to give thanks to where you are, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
And be happy and just keep going, you know.
Yeah, just try to do what you can when you can.
But, 100%.
All right, man. I got one last question for you. I like to ask Jess this one.
Cool.
All right, so you've been accused of murder wrongfully, and you've been sentenced to death row. So you got one meal left. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. So you get to choose your meal, and you can choose who prepares the meal. So, and that chef is gonna end up being a guest at the table, of course. So it could be any chef from any point in time, whenever, and then 2 other people. Again, historical figures from any point in time. They just so you don't get put in the spot. It can't be friends or family.
So that question, what my last meal?
What chef would prepare it?
What chef most, you know, my usual answer to this is there isn't one. There's so many good people out there, but if you put me on the spot, I'd say Ramos Coford from Geranium. Right. You know, none of the most imaginative, crazy, forward-thinking, especially in regards to styling, sort of chefs out there. In my opinion, you know, he's won the Bocuse d'Or once, and silver and bronze and all that stuff. Really? So he'd cook it for me. He's the only person in history who's done it. Geranium, you know, they've just got you know, they got their 3rd star 4 years ago and 5 years ago, and now they're number 2 in the world now. You know, it's amazing. It's my favorite style. So a dish I learned out I want to eat is stuffed chicken wing.
Stuffed chicken wing.
Yeah, that'd be my, if you had to put me on the spot, I'd do this dish. So yeah, stuffed chicken wing. So you make a chicken mousse, 50% cream. It's a chicken, very simple. Diced a bit of heart, a bit of and then the leg and the breast. A bit of pork fat, some burnt juniper powder or mushroom powder or whatever, and then stuff the wing. So you take the 2. You got the tip, and then you take the 2 other bones out and then stuff it up. Sous vide it, confit, all that stuff. Then basically confit, deep fry it in clarified butter. And I'll probably have that with a nice bit of like pickled celeriac and let's just say a fermented mushroom emulsion, just like the fermented mushroom liquid with the butter emulsion, something simple like that. So rich and acidic and complex, I guess. That would be my last.
I think it's your last meal. You can have like 20, 30 courses. You can have whatever you want. Man.
I'll just pick one.
Who would you dine with? Who would you choose from? No friends or family, unfortunately.
Who would I dine with? Interest me. Ramos Coford have to be there for sure.
That's one, yeah. So there's you and him, and there's 2 more.
Oh God, it inspires me. I don't know. I'll probably. I don't know. It's tricky, eh? Who would I pick? I don't know. A couple of chefs. Let's just say Claude Bossy, and I don't know, Tony Blair. Actually, Tony Blair. I'll ask that wanker some questions.
Nice. Awesome. Great answers, dude.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Man,
and it's been fun.
I really appreciate you asking me, man. I've seen some of the stuff you're doing. I like what you do. I mean, it's great for the industry, and I think we need more things like this to make it people sort of aware of. People need to aware, but if people want to be aware and want to transfer from restaurants, and it gives them an insight into what we didn't have when we started. It gives people a more educated sort of opinion of if it's right for them, and that that can help someone through their life, which is a fantastic thing. I think it's great.
I think it's too, like just to like build community too as much as we can, and like help the greenies. So maybe someone's already transitioned from restaurants, and maybe they don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they're lost, or feel like they're they can't keep their head above water. And I think some of these things, especially the chef podcast, they really can get some knowledge out of how to organize.
100%. So I'll put a plug in here, as soon as I'm here. We're doing Justine will open the school in February or March next year, so we'll be opening up courses again. So if anyone wants to come and learn anything, I should be running courses from we do a week one. I do a week one with her, but she's got all the top chefs in the UK teaching there as well, which so a fantastic array of amazing chefs to learn from. I've been on a few of the courses myself, and obviously teach as well, but it's amazing. So hopefully, might see some of you guys down there. And then in the future, I'm thinking, I was talking to you about it, is maybe doing some type of free ebook or something like that. And I don't know, there's a way.
Earlier, I asked you about projects, and you're like, "Nah, I got nothing going on." I'm like, "It's the ebook thing."
I forgot about that. I'm scatty as fuck. So maybe something like that. So I'm just trying to figure a way how to do it. It'd be nice to do something. We have the time to make it. Not just you need to see things. I'm just trying to figure out how to do it, because I don't want to contradict what we do for Justine. But then also give something away. Maybe just edit in bits and do little short clips or videos and sort of little short techniques like you do on Chef Steps and video tutorials on a few things, which might be interesting. But maybe in the future something like that would be nice to give if people are interested to give something back, basically.
I think a lot of people will be interested for sure. Like,
yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I think you should do whatever calls you. Whatever you think is going to make you happy. Whatever things like I for instance, for me, like I feel like I have some karmic debt. I've been riding around the world. People have been hooking me up with all kinds of experiences and just being kind to a stranger. So I do feel like
really cool.
I'm in debt, and I want to kind of do what I can to get back. I still want to do something more motorcycle related at some point, like I don't know, a hospital or some shit, or a biker bar or something. But so I could see your point of like, I just want to share some shit.
No, it's nice. I think it's that sort of type of world I believe in. I'm not religious or any stuff like that. No offense to anyone who is, but I just believe in you give what you get. If you're good, kind-hearted, and you give something out there, you can get something back. And it's being that type of person who's willing to let go. I wasn't for many years. I was really sort of cagey and more so I'd say secretive about what I was doing, because I was putting all my time and investing what I thought is all about me, and which is the complete wrong attitude. Now I'm very happy from what I've been teaching with Justine and the sous chefs and the development which we have on board, and it's put me in a better spot to just share and create a community with people, which is a much nicer place to be, rather than being sort of cagey. It's a big it's a big change for me. It's happened over the last sort of 5 years. I just think it's much nicer to develop into that person, which is much better. I like people. It's all about sharing.
People are interesting. But I think we all go through a time of being selfish and cagey, whatever you want to call it, and you grow out of it because you realize it's more. Your life is richer the other way.
Exactly. It's more rewarding, and it's just nice to be nice. Anyway.
Yeah. All right, homie. Yeah, good talk, and good.
That was awesome. Thanks so much.
Oh man, you're welcome. Anytime.
Nice one, man. Cheers. Keep it up, man. Speak to you soon.
That's it, everyone. That's the latest edition of Get the Fork Out with Micail Swindells. Any questions? Put them in the comments, and one of us will get back to you. Take care, everyone. See ya.